To really get one of the most famous stories ever told about a deal with the devil, you kind of have to get to know the guy who wrote it. And believe me, he was just as brilliant and mysterious as his most famous character. So let's do this. Let's dive into Christopher Marlowe's masterpiece, Doctor Faustus.
So before we even get to the guy who sold his soul, we got to talk about the playwright Christopher Marlowe. I mean, you have to ask yourself, was this guy a government spy? Was he an atheist, which back then could literally get you killed? Or was he just a flat-out genius who basically set the stage for Shakespeare? The wild thing is, the answer might be all of the above. Marlowe's life was short, but man was it explosive. He gets a scholarship to Cambridge, right? But then he keeps disappearing for these long stretches of time, no explanation. It got so weird that the university almost didn't give him his degree. That is, until the Queen's own government stepped in and said, nope, give it to him, he's been doing important service for the country. After that, he becomes a total literary rock star in London, only to get killed in a shady tavern brawl at just 29 years old.
Okay, so you see where this is going, right? The pieces start to fit together. You've got the government cover-up at his college, the fact he was spending way more money than a student should have, it all points to him being a secret agent. And his death? It wasn't some random bar fight. The guys he was with were all connected to the spy world. This whole real-life backdrop of secrets, power, and rebellion, it's the perfect lens for looking at his most famous play. Alright, so with all that real-life drama in our back pocket, let's jump into the fictional one it inspired. It's time to meet Doctor Faustus and his hunt for the ultimate power trip.
So who is this Dr. Faustus? Well, think of him as the smartest guy in any room. He's a genius scholar who's basically mastered everything he can study: law, medicine, religion, you name it. And he's bored out of his mind. He feels like he's hit the ceiling of human knowledge and he wants more. He wants the cheat codes to the universe. And he figures the only way to get him is through black magic.
And the deal he makes is terrifyingly simple. First, he summons a demon named Mephistophilis. Think of him as Lucifer's middle manager. Then he signs a contract, literally in his own blood. The terms? He gets 24 years of unlimited power, with this demon as his personal servant. And the price? Oh, just his soul. Forever. So the deal is done. The blood is dry. Faustus has the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. Now what? What do you do with 2.5 decades of being able to do anything you want? No, seriously. Think about it for a second. If you had that kind of power, what's the first thing you do? Solve world hunger? Explore the stars? Become insanely rich? Well, Faustus has that exact choice in front of him. Let's see what he does. And this is where the story gets, well, kind of pathetic, honestly. After trading his eternal soul for godlike power, Faustus spends his 24 years on petty parlor tricks. He messes with the Pope, he puts on magic shows for kings, he cheats some poor guy at the market. The man who wanted to know more than any human ends up using his incredible power for the most disappointingly trivial things. But there is this one moment, and it gives us one of the most famous lines in all of English literature. Faustus asks Mephistophilis to show him Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman who ever lived. And when he sees her, he's just in awe. But really, this beautiful, poetic moment is just a distraction, isn't it? He's trying to look at something beautiful to forget about that horrifying clock ticking down on his soul. And that clock is ticking louder and louder. The cheap thrills are starting to wear off, and the terrifying reality of his bargain is setting in. This brings us to the real heart of the play, the war for Faustus's soul. You know that classic image of the little angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other? Marlowe pretty much sets the stage for that right here. Throughout the whole play, Faustus has these two angels whispering in his ear. The good angel is like, dude, repent, it's not too late, God will forgive you. But the bad angel is right there on the other side saying, nope, you're a goner, too far gone, God can't help you now. It's his inner conflict right there on stage for everyone to see. Okay, now here's something really cool. The whole debate about whether Faustus can be saved comes down to one single word. See, there are two different early versions of the play. In one, an angel says it's never too late if Faustus can repent, which suggests maybe he's just incapable of it, like he's predestined to be damned. But in the other version, the line is, if Faustus will repent. That little change puts it all on him. It's his choice, his free will. This wasn't just a typo. Marlowe was tapping into one of the biggest religious debates of his day. So, which is it? Is he unable to repent or just unwilling? Well, in the end, it doesn't really matter because he doesn't. The final scene is just pure terror. The clock strikes midnight on his last day, and Faustus completely panics, screaming for just one more minute, one more second. But it's over. The devils show up to collect, and they drag him down to hell. It is one of the most brutal endings in all of theater.
So, Faustus himself is damned for all eternity, but the play, the story itself, becomes immortal. Let's talk about its incredible legacy.
I mean, you've probably used the phrase yourself, a Faustian bargain. This play is where we get that from. Anytime you hear about someone trading their integrity, their morals, their soul, for fame or money or power, that's a Faustian bargain. And it all started right here.
So why are we still obsessed with this play over 400 years later? Because Marlowe took an old German folktale and supercharged it. He made it about something universal, ambition. It asks all of us, what are you willing to do to get what you want? And are you ready for the consequences? The idea of a deal with the devil is everywhere in our culture now, in books, movies, music, and we largely have Dr. Faustus to thank for that.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. Faustus's ambition cost him everything. But his story is kind of like a mirror, isn't it? It forces us to look at ourselves and ask, in a world that's always pushing us to get ahead, what are the lines we won't cross? What's the one thing you'd never be willing to trade away? What price is truly too high?